I love the new spot you're in with some other NFL legends, for PepsiCo with Marino, Rice, Moss, Brady, you name it. So, what was it like filming that? And, the whole premise is coming out of retirement. Was there ever a thought in your mind after you retired, maybe I should give this another go?
Well, I tell you what, it was a great time. I was on the set with Jerry Rice, Dan Marino, Randy Moss, and myself. We were all on site and on set together, and it was great seeing those guys. Obviously, we don't see each other that often, but except for when we're at the Hall of Fame. But the part that was the funniest is seeing us in that daggone uniform. To put on that uniform again, I thought my putting on the uniform days was over and behind me, but thanks to Pepsi, they brought it out of the archives, and we had to put it on again and go out there and have fun with it. And the whole commercial is hilarious because I think in a lot of our minds, a lot of retired athletes' mind, we have the inkling in the back of our mind that we can come out of retirement and do it again. I mean, sitting there watching one of those Super Bowls or sitting there watching the NFC Championship game, and you think that you could be the guy to make a difference. And that's the only time in my mind that I think about coming out of retirement is when those rivalry games are around and those big games are happening. You want to play in the big games. But as you saw in the commercial, age is not going to allow it. It's just not going to allow it. And so I'm so thankful to just sit on the sideline and enjoy the game from a fan's perspective and enjoy watching the game with friends and family, having some of my favorite snacks around, my Mountain Dew, my Cheetos, my Ruffles barbecue chips, all of those kind of things that makes tailgating and makes watching sports such a wonderful moment and that you enjoy with family and friends. So it's all about that right now.
I love it. I love it. So there was never a time, again, I think you retired in, what was it, 2005? There was never a time maybe in '06, '07 that you were like, maybe I can give this a go.
No, 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 no. The reality of
Once
the
you're
fact
done, you're
was
done.
right. The reality of the fact of life for me was there was nothing else I could do in the game outside of get hurt. And my body had gone through so much. And so when I got on the backside of this thing and I come to realize that, hey, this is behind me now. It's time for me to transition and get prepared for life beyond the game, and do the things that I want to do in the next phase of my life, and to start that process right now. And plus, I did not want to be a guy that was moving my family from Arizona to Buffalo to other places around, chasing after something that I already had accomplished. And so, like I said, though, but there are moments when I'm sitting here watching the Cowboys or the Commanders playing, or I'm sitting here watching the Cowboys or the Eagles play, or I'm seeing the Cowboys in the playoff. And when I think, man, I can get out there and do it again. Man, he missed a hole. Or man, he should have caught that. I would have made this play. I would have done this. Yes, that happens. That happens. But do I really want to get out there? No, bro. I'm good.
I love it. Yeah, a lot safer on the couch these days, right?
Hell of a lot safer.
Yeah. But there have been some players, Terrell Owens, Chad Ochocinco have kind of said, like, even the past couple of years, hey, I'm reaching out to teams. I know they've even reached out to Jerry and the Cowboys saying, like, you guys need a receiver. Let me know. So I'm curious, who are maybe some guys that you think could still ball in today's game that could make that comeback?
I think I think
Driving today's
T.O. I
NFL.
think T.O. is one of those guys. I think T.O. is one of those guys, and I think Chad may be one of those guys as well, because those guys have stayed in great shape. I mean, they training still as if they're training to play the game. Me, on the other hand, no, that's not in the cards for Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith is done. So, but I leave it to those wide receivers that that think that they can go out there and do almost any and everything.
I was going to say wide receiver a little different than running back, and I know running backs have come up in conversations, especially this offseason, with some of the contract situations. Guys like Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook. It seems the position's kind of getting devalued lately. So, what are your thoughts on that, and just how the game has evolved, and the position of the running back?
Well, I think the game has evolved to a much more pass happy league. I think the league is making adjustments to accommodate the fantasy football lover, the betting itself, and putting more points in television ratings, because if the game is 13-7, people are kind of bored. But if the game is 52-45 or something like that, people are excited because of the points that have been driven, and the fantasy lovers are loving it because they got players on the team that's scoring touchdowns and getting these points for their fantasy football league. Also, the bets, the overs, the unders, the wins, the odds, and all this kind of stuff plays a role in what the league has adjusted to, in my opinion. Therefore, devaluing the running back position is probably predicated on a number of those other things that I just mentioned. Yeah. So it's disappointing for me as a player.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I was going to say, it's not like running backs don't score points or touchdowns. You get some guys, I think Alvin Kamara had a 5-touchdown game last season or the season before. Christian McCaffrey does it all as well. So, who are some of your favorite guys that you are watching?
You just mentioned two of them.
Okay.
Jonathan Taylor, as well as Derrick Henry, Shaquan Barkley, Zeke Elliott. I love watching him. Tony Pollard, love watching him. There's so many good backs. Dalvin Cook, you mentioned Dalvin Cook as well. There are so many good backs out there in the league that are doing their things. Josh Jacobs out there with the Raiders. I mean, come on. There's so many good backs that are doing their things. And to be disrespected the way that this position has been disrespected is heartbreaking to me, because when a quarterback is not as good as you think he is, you don't talk about that position. And when you make a bad draft choice at the quarterback position, you don't talk about that position. And so I just see the total disrespect, and I'm not pleased with it. But hey, all I can do is just pray for my guys and help support the running back position.
Definitely. Is there anything these guys can do, whether it's changing their game to be more pass catchers or blockers, than guys who are going to touch the ball, rush the ball 30 times, 40 times a game like they used to maybe help bring some more value back to that position? Or it's just the nature of the league?
It's the league. But first and foremost, I'm gonna tell you right now, every last one of these backs that I just mentioned, every last one of them can catch, every last one of them can block. See, playing that position, you have to do all those things in order to stay on the football field and be as effective as a running back that I believe you can, and to help an offensive coordinator call the right plays or even play action plays. You have to have the running back in the game. Play action does not work unless you can run the ball effectively. So bootlegs doesn't work unless you can run the ball effectively. All the running backs that I know and that I've seen, most of them are very good pass blockers. Even Zeke Elliott was a great pass blocker. And so it's not that, and they're good receivers too. Catch the ball out of the backfield. You want the ball in the hands of a runner so he can make guys miss out in space and pick up the big yardage down the field. Just like a wide receiver catches a bomb, he's one-on-one, and he breaks the tackle, no one's going to catch him. But a running back can make 3 or 4 guys miss and still make a big play with run after the catch. Everybody does not have the Tyreek Hill speed. They just don't. They only have the Tyreek Hill ability to cut on a dime and not lose speed. But a running back does.
Definitely, yeah. And I'm sure, as you've seen, a lot of these guys are being moved out into the flat, lining up in the slot, just a lot of making different plays from different positions too. That isn't just lined up next to or behind the quarterback as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So knowing that the game is changing, running backs aren't getting 30 to 40 carries a game like they used to, is there any concern that your career, all-time rushing record is going to be touched? I think Derrick Henry's the active player who's got the most yards. I think he's around 8,000, but that's a lot shy of what you have. So is there any concern over that record?
I don't even think about the record. All I know is a long way out there, and I know what it took for me to get there to get it. And so I don't even think about it. I probably won't look back and pay that close attention until someone gets to Frank Gore's level.
Yeah. And at this point, it doesn't look like you have to worry about that anytime soon. So
thank you, National Football League.
Yeah, right. Good thing you don't have the passing record, because that'll probably be broke next year and the year after and the year after.
Exactly.
Shifting gears a little bit and talking about the Cowboys. You mentioned Zeke. I know he's on the Patriots now, and Tony Pollard and all that. Dak Prescott's still the quarterback there. They brought in Trey Lance. It seems every year people are very high on the Cowboys. They had a great year last year, 12-5, made it to divisional round. So what are the expectations for the boys this year?
Um, I don't know, to be honest with you. All I know is I want to see a solid running game. I think if we really want Dak Prescott to become a very good quarterback, we got to have a solid running game. And we got to have a number one or a number two wide receiver. If you want to say CeeDee Lamb is your number one, that's fine. Then we need a number two. If you want to say he's your number two, we need somebody out there. If you're going to throw the ball the way we plan on throwing the ball and not run the ball as much as we want to, we got to have wide receivers that are able to beat man-to-man coverage. And CeeDee Lamb can be bracketed from the inside out if he's sitting in the slot. And so we got to have someone to blow the top of zones off, beat man-to-man coverage to where the ball does not have to go towards CeeDee Lamb the whole entire time. And the only way I think you can do that is by running the rock effectively, but also giving Gallup or someone else the opportunity to make plays down the field that opens up the middle of the field for CeeDee Lamb to go to work.
So it's a little more balanced and not relying specifically on one player or one scheme if it's passing, more than running or something like that.
No doubt. No doubt. I think it's balanced. I think that's the way the Cowboys won in Super Bowls in the past. And I'm talking about going way before me, going back to the Roger Staubach days and the Dorsett days. And that's the way we're going to win our Super Bowl going forward. And if we don't get that in our mindsets as an organization, we might not see a Super Bowl for the next 15 years.
Mm-hmm. And last question, I know our time's coming to an end here. You mentioned the Super Bowl. I got to ask, any early Super Bowl predictions?
No, I know one thing. The Philadelphia Eagles got a strong team. That much I do know. They remind me of us back in 92.
Yeah. Just in terms of playmakers, like just success, like what do you see in terms of those parallels?
Built tough, inside out, defensive front, offensive line front, running game, solid quarterback, wide receivers, well-balanced team.